In the vast expanse of the cosmos, humanity had spent decades believing it had a solid understanding of the universe's behavior. The rhythm of star birth, the collapse of dying solar systems, and the predictable chaos of the cosmos were all familiar concepts. Yet all of that was about to change in a heartbeat. One ordinary day, an ancient probe, long forgotten by most, recorded something that would change our understanding of the universe forever. Launched in 1977, Voyager-1 had survived all expectations, reaching the cold boundary between star space where no man-made object had ventured before. But on October 22, 2024, something violated this silence. The instrument on Voyager was suddenly overwhelmed with anxiety as a stream of high regulatory radiation poured in. The radiation was so intense that it overloaded not only the aging systems of the probe, but also the ground observatory, such as Swift and Fermi. At some point, the entire network of space observatories was blinded by an unimaginable force that was pouring in. Initially, the scientists thought that this was a mistake. Perhaps the dying sun was sending its last confused messages. But the more they analyzed the data, the more obvious the terrifying truth became. This was not from the sun, but the first to feel the shockwave of the brightest, most powerful gamma ray burst ever recorded by mankind. The events were so catastrophic that they repeatedly surpassed all previous energy records. And so, when the scientists found out its true source, they understood that the universe hides a secret, darker and more cruel than we could ever imagine. For almost 5 decades, the probe had drifted silently in the void, its devices barely holding on. Its mission had long been considered the heroic relic of human curiosity. But on that fateful day, Voyager-1 had stumbled upon something incomprehensible. Scientists soon called it JRBI 221.09 Gamma's Splake, a name that would become synonymous with one of the most powerful cosmic events ever observed. Imagine a ray of energy with the brightness of millions of galaxies combined, focused into a second beam, piercing the universe. First, it hit the warrior, and then it struck the ground. For months, the best minds of the world tried to explain the impossible. Some believed that it was a collapse of a massive star in a black hole. Others suggested that it was a violent fusion of 2 neutron stars. But none of these theories could fully explain the foreigners, the extreme concentration of the beam, strange patterns afterglow, and new radio companions that did not correspond to a well-known model. It seemed that the laws of physics bent around this event, as if something had happened that nature itself should not allow. The universe did not just blink, it screamed. Despite the deterioration, the old age of the weakening under the blows of time and the distance, Voyager-1 managed to convey critically important information. The cosmic warning stored in its fragile signals. But only in April 2025, years after the gamma ray burst, the true nature of the event finally became clear. Thanks to the indistinguishable sensitivity of the James Webb Telescope, they tracked the source and found something shocking in their everyday life. An ordinary supernova, not a collision of neutron stars, not an exotic black hole, but simply supernova, but one that we have never seen. It turned out that the explosion was directed with exceptional accuracy, narrowly focused and constructed particles flying at almost the speed of light, one of the narrowest rays ever observed. Due to this narrow focusing, energy was not easy to huge. It was turned into rifles. As a cosmic sniper shot through the galaxy, it struck Voyager-1 from the ground by force, which we can hardly realize. And yet, even now, scientists admit that this may not be the whole story. Other unknown factors may have increased the explosion even more, and the questions that remain are much more alarming than any available answers. The discovery of JRB 2909 does not just rewrite the rules of gamma-ray bursts. It makes us ask ourselves how many more phenomena we did not correctly understand, unaccounted for, or missed. Because if a simple supernova, once considered predictable, can give rise to such monstrous power under correct or incorrect conditions, which can still hide the universe, what else might be out there? Voyager-1 was never created to see it. Its missions were to photograph the planets, and not to become the first and only sentinel to record an event that almost refuted the reality itself. And if this could happen once, unexpectedly in the distant corner of the galaxy, which prevents this from happening again? Or worse, and if such events are not rare at all, and if the universe, much more unstable, is much more dangerous and unpredictable than even our gloomy models, the last program of Voyager-1 could be a warning, not a look at the beauty of the cosmos, but in its truly cruel, indifferent heart. When the first homes were opened in the 1960s, they were a mystery, but quickly found a place in our space models. Mass stars die, black holes are born, energy is released, and life continues. It was chaos, yes, but a controlled chaos, predictable to some extent. But JRB 2021-09A, caused as it turned out to be an ordinary supernova, broke through this cozy racking like a bullet paper. For the first time, scientists were faced with an event that their best models could not explain. Brightness, energy, strange behavior of afterward. At the stagnation, all this indicated the dynamics that we do not yet understand. The Luriers, but the Belfast Prize and leading researchers were forced to recognize the brutal truth. We are still children in the notes, grabbing the hinds in the universe which is repaired behind the horse, which we are just starting to distinguish. It was not just supernova. It was the messages of the universe itself, the reminder that the more we declare our understanding, the louder the universe laughs at the bottom of arrogance. Voyager-1's position in the interstellar space was decisive. If it was still inside the heliosphere, a protective magnetic bubble around our solar system, the surge would look different from the solar wind and magnetic fields. But Voyager was beyond, a naked sensor, opened by the true conditions of a deep cosmos. And what he recorded says that the environment outside our solar system is a much country than we ever have been dared to assume. Magnetic fields, plasma interactions, the age of radiation, all this behaves differently on the edge of the solar system. Gamma-ray bursts not just struck Voyager. They interacted with the space itself as scientists are just beginning to model. There are rumors among physicists that the boundaries between what we call empty space and energy structures can be thin, more unstable and more reactive than anyone thought. Voyager was not easy to observe this event. He witnessed something primitive, cosmic dance between raw energy and invisible frames that hold reality. Even when Voyager alone transferred his shocking last transmission, they quietly realized the lands, our farthest eyes and ears begin to refuse. Technical issues, energy-saving measures and aging equipment take their own. Of the 10 scientific devices on board Voyager, only 3 work. Every year more and more systems are turned off, a victim for a little more time. We are hoping to support the mission of Voyager until the beginning of the 2030s. But the truth is cruel. We become witnesses to the slow death of the greatest researchers who have ever created humanity, and together with their fading signals we lose not only data. We lose our only existing avatars outside the solar system. When Voyager is silent, deep silence will fall over this immense line, silence that can last decades until the new generation of spacecraft dares, to cross the void. The question is, what else will happen there while we are deaf and blind to this? While scientists are studying every grain of data from Voyager alone, frightening awareness begins to be born. JRP 22109A was not just a rare random event. Its intensity, unpredictability of destructive forces indicate a deeper, much more terrifying truth. Our galaxy, and possibly all Lu's troubled, ordered system, is slowly fading. This is a field of the battle of forces that we are not able to comprehend. If a simple supernova could cause such an anomaly that it can still wait there, hidden in the depths of the cosmos, disguised only by our ignorance. Perhaps the last Voyager transmission was not an easy message about one event, and the vasty nature of our universe with a look. Universe controlled by instability and sudden catastrophic changes. We always looked at the stars in search of comfort, admiration. But maybe the stars have tried to warn us all this time. Now the question is not what Voyager-1 saw. The question is what we will do now, when we know. The universe is much more cruel, unpredictable and alive than we have ever imagined. Voyager-1 was launched with a simple dream. Explore, open, spread the boundaries of human knowledge outside the usual planets. But no one could predict that almost 50 years later he would convey not easy images or data, and the final sinister shot from the scruff of being. Gamma-ray bursts which he recorded, the brightest, most powerful Jumpdale because registered, was not just a cosmic accident. It was a message, elongated by fire over the horse of reality.